What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the JoeyH podcast. Today, we got a very special guest with us today, Salvatore Saccente. Welcome to the JoeyH podcast. I really appreciate you coming on. So, I'm going to start out because I like to start from the beginning. What were your early days like?
Good question. First off, I just want to say thank you for having me on. Really interesting experience. I don't think I've been on a podcast before, so it's really nice that you reached out to me, and I'm looking forward to the rest of our conversation. But basically, to answer
Problem?
your question, early days, as far as like within music or just like childhood and stuff like that, like
Yeah, um like from your early days evolving you into music.
all right, that's a good question. So I guess growing up, I was always like, I even wrote my college essay on this. I always enjoyed music. I always enjoyed listening to music. Um, I'd get picked up later on because I did like aftercare, so it was closer to like 5:30 most days. And around that time, they would have like these remixes that would play, or not remixes, but they'd have like these traffic jam remixes that the DJs would play on the radio. And I just grew up listening to that, in like my mom's car and stuff, coming home from aftercare, and I was always like, you know, interested in the music. I loved it, and I was like, how do I create these experiences for myself? And so basically, in like middle school time, I started making music. Right, I like used the iPhone, the GarageBand that was on it, and I just started making beats. And I was just trying to figure out everything, how to like make these same experiences that I grew up listening to for myself. Right, and so that was through beats. I did that from like seventh grade to 12th grade. Always loved music. I did grow up playing sports and stuff. I did baseball, wrestling, didn't do football. I know that was a big thing at St. Thomas, but did baseball, wrestling. Those were cool too. Not really relating to the music, but those were fun. Um, my childhood was great. Had a lot of good experiences. I have a younger brother. He doesn't really do music and stuff, but he enjoys it. Um, so yeah, basically growing up listening to the mixes on the radio, I was like, I gotta make these for myself. Figured out how to make beats, did that for like 5 years. I still do it to this day, just not as much as DJing. I think that's something that I picked up later on, right, in college. And yeah, once I got to college, that's when I started DJing. That's what I do now, right? It's kind of like a business. It's like my service of what I do. And coming from music production, picked it up very easily. Um, I think what also sets me apart is the fact that I know it sounds good because I made beats for about 5 years. Um, I didn't really monetize it to the extent that I do with DJing, but it did give me a good grasp of like what sounds good, how to mash up, and basically that's pretty much it.
Who is your favorite artist to listen to um growing up? Or who was your favorite artist to listen to growing up?
Honestly, that's a really good question too. I have a lot. Um, I like what sounds good, but for me, I would say favorite artist was probably like Drake, early Drake. Um, his early songs, like 2010s and stuff like that. That was big. My mom would always have that on. Those were in the mixes, like I was talking about, like driving home from aftercare or whatever. The DJs on the radio, they would play a lot of that. Lil Wayne was great too. Um, obviously, it's shifted over time. I enjoy different people now. I still like Drake; he's cool, but I just like what sounds good. I will tell you this though, strictly rap, strictly rap. Rap music is definitely like the genre that I will stay in. But
Get
I mean, I still appreciate other genres and stuff, but man, if there's good songs in rap music, I love them. I wouldn't say there's a particular artist that I enjoy over the other because my playlists are so like diverse, but just rap music in general, fantastic. I'd say early on it was Drake. Now, we're kind of like Travis Scott, Future type vibes, but yeah, definitely.
why Well, I'm pretty sure you already answer this question, but why
You're
do
good.
yeah, why do you love to remix music?
Okay, so good question again. I would say it's it's not just about music. I think it's the creative space in general, right? Because if you look at music or different creative different creative things that we do, they take us to like this fourth dimension. They take us to like another place, and they allow us to experience certain emotions, right? And certain feelings, which I love, right? That's part of the reason why I started making music, because I wanted to feel these things for myself, right? Like if you've listened to a great song before or
Yeah.
a good remix, you probably like, you'll get the goosebumps, you get the tingles, you'll like your mind will be in like a different place, and it takes you to like this different dimension. And so I've wanted to create that for myself. And it's not just me, this is every creative. This is why we make music or write poetry or do these different creative trying to think of a word, creative tasks or creative things. This is why That's why we do these, is to create these experiences for ourselves in a unique way. So that's why I produce music. That's why I remix music. That's why I mash up songs. That's why I DJ. Part of why I even started the Instagram Saccente Audio, separate from my original brand, just around Salvatore Saccente, is to create a page solely based on mashups, right? And bringing different emotions from songs together to make a new experience, a new emotion, right? Or a new feeling. And
Okay.
that's why I love it. That's part of the reason why I DJ and why I, create content online with mashups, at least right now, because it brings me joy. It brings me a lot of, fulfillment. And it's nice to know that I can use this platform, of Instagram and share that with other people. So the emotions that I create or the experiences that I create through music can be broadcasted and shared with other people so that they can feel that as well. So I'd say that's the reason why, for sure.
Okay, yeah, because I look at your Instagram and I see a lot of like early, like you said, Drake early
Yep.
2010s,
Oh
and
yeah.
it sounds like when you remix it on other beats and stuff like that, really it's really beautiful, you know? It's like it just comes together, very nice. So
Yeah. I really
now,
appreciate that, bro. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem, no problem. Now, what is a quote that you live by?
I'm gonna answer to that. I'm gonna say there's no quote that I live by, but there is a manner that I live by, which has infinite quotes, and that's from the Bible. And that's of the man of Jesus. So as a Christian, seeing the life of Christ, seeing the way that he lived and the principles of the Bible, when I apply that to my life gets better. I get blessings, not just about me, about what I'm getting, but it's also what we're called to live by. And so I don't have a quote for you. I'm sure if I really like think, it'll come. But I do have a manner that I live by, and that is, through the manner of Christ, becoming more like Him, you know, through my words, through my thoughts, through my actions, blesses my life, blesses other people, and is what we're called to be. So I
Yeah.
would say that is most inspiring. I'll read the Bible, I'll read different verses, I'll see the gospels, see the way that Christ lived, and that's inspiring for me, right? Obviously, there's people online. You look at like David Goggins and Patrick Bet David, and you're inspired by these individuals as well. But I'd say at the root and at the foundation of who I am is the person of Christ, without a doubt. So that's who I strive to be like, and just seeking the kingdom of heaven first before my business, before I pursue anything else. That is priority for sure.
Now, yeah, I like yeah, I like that. You everyone lives by a certain mannerism.
Yes.
One quote that I live by, and it's by well, it's mentioned in a song or sampled in a song by Tupac and his song "Do for Love." And it's a quote by, I believe, Booker T. Washington, and it is, "What you won't do, do it for love. You try everything, but you don't give up." So, yeah, like if you have something and that you love to do, like this is what you want to do, you know, and you try you try everything to make this dream that you like, what your dream job, like what you want your dream job to be, or you know what you want, like you want to do what you love, and you do it out of love, and you want to you'll stop at nothing to achieve that goal. So
I
that's
like how you mentioned doing it in love. I like how you mentioned that because that's a huge thing, not just for me, but just for any, I would say, business in general or any sort of pursuit that we have, right? As individuals, we have our dreams, right? And we're going to pursue them. If we do them for, um, in vanity, or if we do them for a certain intention that is not rooted in giving or rooted in love, it's bound to fail, right? If we put the other individual first, right, in our intention for starting a business or a podcast or creative brand, right? I love creativity, so I'll talk about my business for a second, right? For my intention, if it was not rooted in love or in the other individual for providing good service, good mashups, good music for them to enjoy, if it wasn't rooted in that, it would be bound to fail. Obviously it's not rooted in anything vain or for myself, but it is solely for the purpose of the other person, right? To enjoy a creative work, to enjoy a mashup, a remix, the DJing service that I provide in general, not just for me, but any business, right? We have to do it in love, like you said, from the quote from the Tupac song. So I like the fact that you mentioned that, and it's true for all different areas of work. We have to root our intentions in love first and foremost before we go about pursuing any of it.
now what motivates you?
What motivates me? Many different things. I would say first and foremost, results, growth, the ability to become a better man through my work and through the tests of life, right? I could talk about strictly DJing and music, but the reality is, Joey, this entire business that I have and this entire pursuit, right, to become financially free and to just, have my business and stuff, it develops me, it develops my character. So I would say to become that ultimate man, that ultimate, leader, father figure, just like all of the above, that vision. My visions motivate me. It's like my own destiny that I, have in my mind. This like concept of me being financially free and creating beautiful music, being creative, or working with other people, being a leader, creating a movement. It's visions like this and these like big goals that I have that motivate me, right? Because whenever I do lose sight of them or lose sight of my original intention, I come back to the vision and it motivates me again, right?
Okay.
Another thing I would say is obviously, you know, the person of Christ, the Bible, these sort of values, becoming closer like that motivates me. Other people seeing their growth and success, I love it. I love to see my brothers win, and I love to see my brothers grow in their businesses and in their lives. And in seeing that, I'm then motivated, right?
Yeah.
So it's many different factors, but I will say primarily it is these like spirit-given visions that I have, like of a better, not that my life is bad now, but of an even better life, right?
Got it.
And like manifesting that into reality just through my work. So,
Yeah, I mean,
mhm.
because like this whole podcasting thing, like this whole podcasting, I I mean a lot of I mean there were a lot of people telling me I should start a podcast, but honestly, when Jacob Pirone, when he started his Leaders Talk podcast, I was just like, man, like if everyone's been telling me to do this for years, and now one of my good friends from high school is actually doing this. I'm like, how far can I actually take this if I were to do something like this? So I'm gonna
And
say,
let me ask you, Joey, what's your
but
intention? What's your intention with the podcast? Did you start it because of like seeing someone else do it, or did you start it because of a deeper vision?
well, I will say this, like growing up, like whenever I saw like athletes or whoever, like celebrities or like even just people in my everyday life, I realized that all of them had a story. Like everyone has a story, you know? Like I remember like Charles Barkley, he said once, like, look, I don't care who you are. If you make it to the pros, if you make it to the NBA, you're one hell of a player. And everyone has a story, And see, that's the thing. Like when I see, like I've seen like average, like we're just putting an example like of
Hmm.
football. Like a lot of those fans, they care about what that player can do for them on the field, which
Hmm.
I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that, but I'm more inspired by their story. I want to learn more about their story before they actually, before I want to learn about really what they can do on the field, you know? And that's why everyone has a story. And that's why when I started this, I wanted to hear everybody's story. Like I want to like ask you like or not you, I'm just talking about like
Hmm.
people, you know,
Yeah.
how did you get here? Like what motivates you? I ask that in every interview. What motivates you? Like what drives you to do what you do,
Yeah.
that is why like I started it. And for years, because I knew a lot about sports, like I was a sports like junkie, like everyone like in my life knew that, and they were telling me for years and years and years like you should start it, and I never really got around to it, but
Hmm.
when I saw Jacob doing it, that was like the final like green light, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm gonna see if I can do this. But like my thing is like when I started it, I was like, I'm gonna take it serious,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna stay consistent, and that's my thing. I'm gonna stay consistent, and hopefully one day this thing can turn into something that I, probably could have never imagined it would have it would have been. But you got to shoot for the stars sometimes,
You definitely do. You definitely do. And I'm just gonna say a few words on the whole thing, and that's beautiful. I can see, and I even looked back at a couple of your other videos, and I noticed that you are really big into sports. Your podcast will grow. It will become successful as long as your intentions are pure, right? Like, as long as you started this because of like and do this. Every business has to do this. Every business leader has to do this. Even me, right? When I lose sight of my intention, I want you to go forward with this. I want you to continue doing what you're doing. I think this is amazing. The fact that you're getting people's stories and you're having people on, right? Um, I will say it's great to have people that to motivate you to do things, but as long as you're doing those things for a deeper intention,
Yes.
right? Not to prove something to someone or to do something because a friend was doing it, but to do it because you love it. You have to. And if we're talking about the man of Jacob Hiron for a second, he started that and he did what he did because he loved it, because he had a deep intention and a deep purpose with his work. We have to analyze that. So if there's anything that we learned from him, it's the fact that he had his purpose, he had an intention set at the start to share knowledge, to give, right? To teach people, to have leaders so that he can learn, but not just him, but everyone around his circle, everyone online. And that's what your intention needs to be. So I think it's beautiful that you're inspired by him. I just want to let you know that continue to refine your intention, continue to refine your purpose because the podcast will continue to grow in so much as that your purpose and your intention to start it is pure. Because if it's not, if you're just doing this, and I'm not saying that you are, I think your intentions are pure. I just want to let you know that everything in life, in the business world, in my creative ventures, other people's creative ventures, whatever, will grow as long as the intentions are pure and as long as we stay true to the original vision that we had. So that's all I will say on it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the future of this podcast. I know it's early now, but I'm being honest with you. I'm really looking forward to it because
Yeah, I mean,
I know if you keep consistent with it, it's gonna continue to grow, just with
yeah,
pure intention.
thank you. And
Mhm.
because the thing is like I look at it it's like, man,
Mhm.
life is too short, And I actually was listening. I was scrolling through YouTube last night, and this soccer manager named Jose Mourinho, he was this was back in 2021 when he was the manager of Tottenham Hotspur in England. But he said this to his player. It was Dele Alli, and he said, "Look, I'm 56 years old, and yesterday I was 20, and now I'm 56." And he said, "Time flies, you know." And he said, "I think because this is like a young player." He said, "I think you will regret it if you don't demand more out of yourself." He said, "I'm not expecting you to be the man of the match every game. I'm not, you know, expecting you to be great every game. I don't want you to demand more from me. Other people demand more from yourself, you know?
Mhm.
And that's been my whole thing in my life is, bet on yourself. And I'm going to be honest with you. I have days, and I'm sure, I don't know if you feel like this, but I'll be honest. I have days where I feel like I'm failing, I feel like,
We all do. We
I,
all
I
do. But
yeah,
that's when you have to get back up, you know?
I have days where I feel like I'm failing. It's like, man, like some of these, like I don't know, some things just like happen in my life, I feel like I'm not being productive and you know, I realize though it's like if you're doing something like this, it's a growing process. And then I gotta like talk myself back up. It's like, no, 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 like hold on, Joey, you're like, because be honest with you, if you would have told me I'd be doing this 5 years ago, I probably would have laughed at you, you know? And because like, I don't know, like I just didn't really see a future in that, and I would like, I have to tell myself like, Joey, like years ago, like a lot of people wouldn't have even thought, like people surrounding you, they probably wouldn't have even thought you'd be doing this. Like like you weren't even supposed to be doing this right now, And that's why, like, when on days where I feel like I'm down, like I gotta pull myself back up, and I'm like, no, 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 Joey, like you're doing just fine, and
Mhm.
that is what keeps me going, just know
Yes.
where. like, because again, you do it out of love, and I love to do this. So that's where it will, like, that's where my progression really comes from, my motivation to, to my where my motivation comes from to do it,
A
So,
thousand percent. And I will say this as well, Joey. Create for yourself big dreams, like huge dreams, dreams that are far off. Not well, not really far off because we're gonna get them, but create for yourself big dreams and follow them like with your whole heart, right? And not just that. I would say before we follow our dreams, but just during the process, right? There's no really set time we should do this. Another huge thing, right, that I do for myself, and I would love to share with you for a second, is this practice of self-improvement, becoming a becoming better people, physically, mentally, and spiritually. What does that look like? Diet, health, exercise, prayer, meditation, fasting, and like just writing, or this, creativity. This third thing of like growing the spiritual or growing the mental plane for us is a huge thing. I do it through music, through writing, through books. I think reading is such a beautiful tool, right? It gives us the ability to tell better stories and just to gain more information, right? We spend a lot of time on our phones and just death scrolling. That that is going to absolutely kill our mental plane, right? We
yeah.
can't do that. But when we grow ourselves in self improvement, we become better people, better leaders, better men, and it's a beautiful thing. And I know for you, Joey, you're going to start that journey. Not you're already on it, but you're going to continue to go on it, and it's going to make you a better podcaster. It's going to make you a better host for your podcast. And when you continue to refine your dreams and make the adjustments for how far you want to go, you are going to be able to have a higher capacity, right? To have better guests, to speak better, to do even better than you're doing now. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Like, I think what you're talking about, how you were talking about following your dreams and doing everything in love, that's beautiful. That's absolutely amazing. And it comes with different aspects of self-improvement to guide us along the way. And I would say even for myself, that's how I excel in my life is through self-improvement. It's taking that time just for me, a little bit of an, introversion so that I can then give my gifts to other people. I'll spend the time alone so that I can excel when I'm in those group settings or when I'm on a podcast like this. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I'm also looking forward to seeing, where this DJing will take you. I'm sure that there are loads of party promoters that would love to have someone like you DJing at their party. So now, last question. What can we expect from you in the future?
Love this question. What you can expect from me in the future is growth on the YouTube channel, separate from music, but more towards self improvement and the journey of my life, sharing with the world so that they can learn from me, from my business journey, right? And everything that I go through. So, growth on the YouTube channel, growth with the networks and the events that I will be DJing for. That will be something that you can look forward to. Another thing that you can look forward to is more content, right? Continuing to post daily mashups and in the future live streaming the DJ content. I don't want to speak too much on what's going to happen, but you can expect continual growth and continual success from my DJ brand. Not just that, but for the audience that I serve and for the people that listen to my creative works, you can continue to expect more content, more creativity, more mashups, more music. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's awesome. And um, to everyone watching, Salvatore, his links will be in the description. Definitely go check him out. And Salvatore, I really do appreciate you coming on here. It really means a lot to me. This was a great conversation we had. So
It was, bro. It really was. Thank you for having me, bro. I really appreciate being on here. This is my first podcast that I've really done formally, so I really appreciate it, bro.